Cabalist, we are gathered here today to remember the life of Cabal PH. A game that hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people enjoyed playing over the past 16 years. I'm one of those people. I may have a love-hate relationship with this game, mostly feelings of regret from playing it when I was a boy. Enough with the eulogy bit. Cabal PH closed its doors on June 11, 2024. To the surprise of Filipino Cabalists, they are baffled by the closure of the server given that Cabal PH was still active and apparently strong, even though the game is 16 years old. As I've seen and heard on PlayPark's Facebook page, forums on Reddit, and from my good friend Pudi, ESC Soft, the developers of Cabal, did not extend their contract with PlayPark, the company that handles Cabal PH server. I haven't seen any solid information on why this happened, but many speculate that ESC Soft is planning to release a new game in C. There are too many speculations and hearsay, and I won't add to that. This video is not about speculating or adding fuel for the fire. It's about one thing: nostalgia. Ladies and gentlemen who click on this video, I am going to nostalgia bait you now. Let's savor this hefty dose of remember berries and look back to the simpler times when Cabal PH was in its infancy. Before PlayPark, there was Level Up Games, and before that, there was E-Games. Let's all take a moment as I try to trigger your nostalgia. Remember the first day you decided to play Cabal? Was it because of your friend who didn't stop talking about it and was eager for you to play it with them? Or did you start playing because when you visited your favorite local computer shop or cafe, you saw people playing this MMORPG and noticed the flashy, almost blinding colors emitting from their screens? Or was it your curiosity? Were you looking for something different, a change of pace from the 5v5 of Dota? Whatever the reasons may be, you launched the game and were greeted by the steampunk feel, the sound of an electric current flowing somewhere, followed by the sound of an opening hydraulic gate. The game asked you to create a character. You saw 6 classes. A warrior with a gleaming armor and massive sword, a blader wielding 2 blades, a force shielder with a shield that seemed to be powered by technology if not magic, a force blader. Okay. This was the first character that I created because my friends had already made a blader, a warrior, and a wizard. There was a staggering number of shielders and force archers, so I chose this character to be unique. I can't really think of a cool way to introduce this class. Sorry. A force archer, an archer that uses magic as its projectile rather than arrows. And finally, the wizard, who casts devastating magic to be victorious. You finally decided on what character to use and roleplay. Then, you started the game. Welcome to Nevareth. Depending on what characters you've chosen, your starting map will be different. If you choose to be a warrior or shielder, you'll be greeted by the icy plains of Bloody Ice, which has a BGM that my friend Pudi really likes. He once told me that if he died, he would ask his family to play Bloody Ice BGM at his funeral. Well, can you blame the man? The music of Cabal is quite catchy and iconic. From the relaxing sound of Green Despair to the music of Fort Rowena that makes me feel like I'm being pursued by someone. My favorite music is the BGM of Forgotten Temple B1F. It might not fit the theme of the dungeon, but once I hear that song, I feel ready to take on 50 nest bites and win. Nevareth's maps may be outdated by today's standards, but I quite like the variety this game has. The 3 starting locations are vastly different from the places you'll unlock later. I can even imagine that I'll visit a place like Pontus Ferrum and later fight hordes of robots that look alien. Like, come on, when I was at lower levels, I was fighting rabbits, monkeys, and giant mosquitoes. And now you're telling me that I will face alien robots? I didn't expect that one bit. As you fight hordes of enemies and defeat them, you see items they drop, dungeon entry items, map art, Seal of Darkness, Epaulet of the Dead B1F, and Mustard Card Ruina Station. Iconic names, right? Hearing those names might make you remember the very first time you entered a dungeon in Cabal. Seeing the timer in yellow font dwindling down, you knew you needed to beat the dungeon before it expired. Do you remember the confusing halls of EOD B1F? The feeling of being lost and outright confused about what to do next? It was frustrating, but on your second, third, or fourth try, you eventually mastered the halls of the dungeon. It took you 52 minutes to finish it on your first try, but as you leveled up and memorized the steps for the quests in the dungeon, now it only takes you 5 minutes or even less to finish it. That sense of achievement, even how vain it was in the grand scheme of things, makes you feel proud of yourself. Whatever class you may have chosen, Cabal didn't fail to mesmerize you. The skills are colorful, and the acrobatics some of the characters do when they cast a skill are really impressive. The sounds we hear every time we use our abilities, to name a few, the warrior's whirlwind skill really sounds like you're bringing a whirlwind with you. The Force Blader's assassinate skill sounds like it's breaking not only the target's body, but also dimensions. And the satisfying sound we hear when the skill lands a critical hit on multiple targets. It really sounds like it is indeed critical. Unlike other MMORPG of that time, Cabal has a system that I really enjoy and I think is unique to it. I haven't seen it before and I haven't seen it since. I am talking about the combo system. This rhythm-like minigame activates combo mode. I like the system because it somehow alleviates the boredom that I'm feeling, which can be true of any game. If you're doing the same stuff for hundreds of hours, even the flashy skills you've seen countless times at that point will eventually become dull. The combo system makes me focus and somehow entertained while grinding, because the more combos you successfully perform, the smaller the gap will be. Not only that, if I get bored comboing, I can activate my battle mode. Battle mode is like going Super Saiyan. No. It's like devil mode for your character. Every character has BM1 to BM3. BM1 is nothing special visually, it just gives your character flaming auras and additional stats, which is helpful, don't get me wrong. BM2 on the other hand transform the character's weapons. The Force Archers and Warriors BM2 are two of my favorites. The former wields two pistols that allow you to target two enemies at once, and the latter wields a massive sight. As a Force Blader and Shielder user, their BM2s are quite underwhelming for me. The FB's BM2 wraps their arm with a sausage-like thing, which is hideous, whilst the Shielder transform their shield into this thing. Even the animation for the Shielder's BM2's normal attack is quite lackluster. BM3 is a different beast. Not only does it transform the weapons of the characters, but it also changes their appearance. The most important part is that Force Bladers and Force Shielders BM3s look badass. I'll boldly say that PvP in Cabal was the best among the free-to-play MMORPGs of its time, and here's why. The Nation War is quite amazing. It's not perfect and there's a lot of annoying stuff that drags it down. But the idea of taking points, building defensive structures, and making a massive push for your chosen nation is brilliant. I'm not a competitive gamer, so PvP is the least of what I look for in a game. But in Cabal, being part of this nation war hits differently. Yes, it's still competitive, but your KDA at the end of it is not that important. It's like playing Battlefield or PlanetSide 2. What's really important in the Nation War It's not the kills you've accumulated, but the things you did to secure a win for your nation. Taking points, destroying enemy structures, and defending your own are key. If you're one of the best equipped characters and can kill dozens of enemies in one go, but you just focus on killing opposing characters, there's a high chance that you will lose, especially if the opposing nation has a good strategy and resource management. This is a free-to-play game, and having this feature added to it is impressive. I also love the idea of pledging your allegiance to a nation in a game. Cabal has that. You have to choose between Procyon and Capella. Just a little embarrassing childhood flashback here. I have a question to ask. Who among you who are currently watching now pronounce Procyon as Proc-yin? Because I did for half my life. Anywho, I like the idea of color-coded titles depending on your nation. Blue for Procyon and pink for Capella. And obtaining a different title depending on what nation you belong to. Like Knight for Procyon and Praetor for Capella. Or Stormy Bringer and Luminosity Bringer. My favorite title is Knight of Devotion. Yes, I am a loyal servant of Procyon. Shame that I didn't achieve that rank. Those titles really sound legit and evoke respect. People might start calling you my lord or your grace. It's painfully obvious that Cabal was my childhood. This game was my companion when I was living alone, and for my simple mind back then, Cabal was the best game ever. I hate being nostalgic in general, but writing and gathering footage for this video of mine, I just can't help it. I keep remembering those rainy days when I needed to sprint to the doors of my favorite computer shop, not only to keep myself dry, but also to see if there was any available PC for me to play on. I remember the times I needed to scold my younger cousin to focus on the dungeon we were currently doing because the entry item was quite pricey. The times I laughed so hard because my best friend who was teaching me how to navigate a dungeon was getting frustrated because I kept dying, and he needed to fetch my sorry ass at the entry point every time my character died. I remember the excitement I felt when I finally got a sealed Merkheps ring, the time I reached level 170 as a Force Shielder, and when my wife and I were bored that one time, and I convinced her to play Cabal all those years ago. I also remember the bad times, like when my Force Blader's items got stolen from me, and the painful realization that I needed to spend a fortune just to achieve my ideal build, which I want to talk about more in this section. The amount of money I've heard being spent on this game. My good friend Pudi, a true Cabalist through and through, shared this screenshot with me. This is a post from an influencer, although I'm not really sure who they are. 1.6 million pesos. I have no idea how they spent that amount of money on this game, but that is a lot. Many of you will comment or think that it's their money. They can spend it on whatever they like. Touché. Fair enough. What I'm having issues with is, isn't that pay to win? And why are we enabling it? Why does our gaming culture support this? Some of us view playing and spending money on Cabal as an investment. And I personally know quite a lot of people who think this way. If you earned money through Cabal, good for you. I'm not saying that you should stop. What I'm saying is, because of your actions, you've ruined the game for some of us. Cabal was a good game, but I regret playing it for years and for purchasing microtransactions in it. Like any successful free-to-play game, greed destroyed it. Cabal Mobile has gotcha in it. See my point here? Your dumping or willingness to spend that amount of money to make your character OP or have a return of investment gave the devs more ammunition to over-monetize their game and to actually use a gambling-like psychological strategy. I don't want to criticize this game and upset more Cabalists than I can handle. Wow, did I just assume that people will watch this video? I just want to make that point that if you make money from selling items in a video game, that's fine. You made money while playing a game that you probably like. So good for you. This is my perspective, and to me, that kind of thing sucks for the game. Nevareth was my digital home, and I would have loved to see more of it. It's just a shame that I got burnt out because of things like this surrounding the game. If you really like a free-to-play game, please limit yourself, don't overspend, set a budget per month for how much money you'll spend on the game. You're still supporting it and would probably make the devs of that game a little less greedy. I will remember Cabal as the first game that I spent thousands of hours on. It opened my eyes to pay-to-win mechanics. It's a game that I regret playing because I miss out on a lot of better games. In my mind, I will always blame it for making me focus on it rather than expanding my horizons and trying out other games. But in hindsight, was it really a bad thing? I did enjoy my time playing it. The dungeons that I love to replay, the astral bike that I enjoyed riding, my pet Robo that I adored. The content was impressive compared to its competitors back in the day. The classes felt truly different from each other, and the armor sets had unique looks and names, except for Mithril and Titanium. This game was the first time I've heard the word osmium outside of a general science class. The titles excited me when I saw them in the world and equipped some of them to my character. I cannot help but smile reminiscing all of this. June 11th came, and I decided to create a character and play Cabal until the server's closure. I was aiming to get to level 69, but I failed. With 5 minutes left before the server shut down, I decided to go to my favorite spot in the game, the beach in Portlocks, to greet Oblivion. It was a shame that I couldn't use my Force Blader anymore because I did not migrate my old account to a Play Park account. It would have been a poetic end, my first character being there until the very end. To be at the very end of it, where hundreds of players stood at the main plaza of Bloody Eyes, to the point you couldn't see the ground, waiting for the inevitable end. I started feeling this loneliness. I did Slam's Cabal community a paragraph ago, but looking at this, the sheer number of players being there until the very end, I just can't define it. I am speechless. All those shouts, thanking their fellow Cabalists, thanking their guilds, thanking individuals for all the years they've spent in this game. While all of that was happening, I stood at the beach with this dude riding a giant chick. I couldn't help but reminisce again. Cabal was my childhood. It was the game I played from time to time just for the heck of it. Even if it was dysfunctional and outright unfair most of the time, the familiarity of it was comforting to me. All of those thoughts rushed through my mind. Then, Oblivion descended. So, how about you, ladies and gentlemen, who made this far in this video? How will you remember Cabal? Are you, like me, torn about this game? Or will you remember it as one of the best free-to-play MMORPGs you've played? The answers aren't really important. What's truly important is that we experience something good, an escape. A place that we explored and met friends, competed with people we never knew, and shared Nevareth for 16 long years. Cabal PH might have closed its doors, but like things before it, all good things must come to an end. We therefore commit this game to the ground, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Hope to see you on the next one. Goodbye.